Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Bird's Eye View, providing a full scope of St. Augustine's University. We are so excited for this to be our first episode of the fall semester, and we have two very important guests here joining us. They're not a stranger to the show, but this will be their first show of this new academic year. We have our SGA president, Mr. Kristoff Ayala-Strachan, as well as the 74th Miss SAU, Miss Noah Wheeler. Now, this is a special edition, and as you can see, we have these special Oscar awards. And what you're looking at, this is this year's version of the SAU Oscar Internship Awards. Last year, over 70 students had internships in the summer of 2023, worked for several different corporations, and there was a big ceremony that was held in our auditorium. This year, we want to acknowledge the achievements of over 20 students that worked at several major corporations, as well as some local and state government jobs as well. And so the purpose of this is to highlight the importance of students using the services at the Professional Development and Career Center here at St. Augustine's University, and not just waiting for their junior year or their senior year, but at the beginning of their journey here at SAU as freshmen. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask if Mr. Kristoff and Noah could briefly introduce themselves. I know I gave their name already, but if they could introduce themselves and the internships that they had over the summer.
Okay, I'm Noah Wheeler, and I am a senior computer information systems major here at St. Augustine's University. And this summer, I had the pleasure of interning at SAS as a technical support intern.
My name is Kristoff Ayala-Strachan. I am also a senior studying in political science, and I interned at the City of Raleigh at Vehicle Fleet Services.
So, given that your journeys with your internships, and let me first just commend you both on making an investment in yourselves, in your careers, your futures here at SAU. And so, I guess could you both kind of just provide a brief overview of your experience at both the internships that you had?
So my internship was the community climate program at the City of Raleigh that they hold every year for, I think, juniors and seniors in undergrad. As it says in the name, its focus is on climate change, part of the City of Raleigh's Community Climate Change Action Plan that's implemented throughout all of the various departments of the City of Raleigh that are working towards meeting the city's overall climate change goals. For vehicle fleet services, our main goal was the electrification of the vehicle fleet for the City of Raleigh, which includes, any City of Raleigh branded vehicle you see, whether it's cars, trucks, golf carts, mopeds, but also utility trucks, so the bucket trucks, garbage trucks, fire and police. So we dealt with that, assisted in grant writing that reached out to the Biden administration to procure grants for the implementation of more charging stations throughout the city in historically underserved areas. Also assisted with the selling of old vehicles, because part of the city's policy is selling old vehicles when they take them out of service but are still fully functioning, to sell them back to the city residents at a much cheaper cost, because it was bought with city funds in any event. So it's good to give it back to the city as opposed to just, putting it in a trash dump. And then there were also some administrative duties. Also, we worked on a video that's now being shared throughout the City of Raleigh that educates City of Raleigh employees on how to operate electric vehicles that are currently in use for the city.
Wow, that's cool. That's awesome.
That's super cool.
Noah.
So this summer at SAS, of course, like I said, I interned at the technical support department. So that involved me doing casework. So let's say a professor at an institution has an issue with their SAS on demand for academics, I would work through to see if I could help them solve their problem, as well as cases for VIA for learners. And then I also did phone duty and chat duty, like what you think when you think of tech support. But we had an even bigger project where there is a internal log analysis tool called Logpedia, and I worked to create a low-level REST API for R&D, which is another sector of people in SAS. So that's what I did. It was pretty fun.
Wow, that's outstanding. Now, we know that at St. Augustine's University, it takes a village to support our students. Your intern and your career journeys, a lot of that came from support from your faculty, your deans, and also the Professional Development and Career Services Center also plays a role in that as well. Could you describe a little bit how your experience at the career fairs here on campus at St. Augustine's helped influence your decision to apply for your respective internships?
So I originally spoke to Dean Sapp one day just in passing, and he was telling me, oh, Noah, did you sign up for the event that SAS is hosting? It was like a virtual event. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I didn't, but I'll get to it. And then completely forgot about it. And when I walked past the flyer again, I said, oh my gosh, I need to apply for it. So I went ahead and looked, realized I missed the event, but still signed up for the internship. And then a few weeks later, we had a student global leadership career fair, again, in partnership with Career Services. And I got to meet one of the recruiters at the career fair. And it was really nice because she was very personable, and it gave me a little bit of insight into the community that SAS holds. So that was really nice.
For me, mine actually started with just Googling internships in the Raleigh-Durham area. And then that's how I first came to find out about the City of Raleigh Community Climate Change Internship Program. And then after that, I think Ms. Johnson in Career Services forwarded an email to Ms. Bannerman, who then forwarded the email to the international students. And I was like, oh, I already signed up for this. So I was like, cool. And then about a week later, we had a career fair in the gym where the City of Raleigh coordinators were present. And Ms. Bannerman offered to introduce me to them. And I was like, oh, these are the people who I already signed up for. And they were like, what? And they put up their laptop. You do have an application in. And basically, I had my first interview right there at the career fair. So, yeah.
Super cool.
Now, Mr. President, you don't know this, but the president and I, we were on a call with the city manager. And while we were meeting with her, she actually brought you up. She talked about that one of our students was interning, and she gave your name. And she's like, yeah, that's our SGA president. And I just want to let you know that she was singing your praises, and we want to thank you for being such a great ambassador for the university.
Yeah, I think that was important for me because coming from St. Augustine's, even when we did our first interview, everybody said, oh, it was only for students who attend a university in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So they were like, oh, I'm at NT State, I'm at Chapel Hill, I'm at UNC Greensboro, I'm at A&T. And then everybody had the big applause. And I'm like, well, I'm from the historic downtown University of St. Augustine. And they're like, so I had a point to prove that, yes, I'm from St. Augustine's, but, I'm still as valuable as anybody else there. I may not come from a school with the numbers or even, the research resources like the rest of them, but I'm still able to contribute in the same or even better manner than the rest of my peers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk some more about that later on this show. So in what ways did the Office of Professional Development and Career Services support you in this search? And I think some of you kind of described a little bit of that already.
So, of course, having the career fair itself. So even if I hadn't signed up for the internship beforehand, I would have been able to meet the recruiter. And of course, I was already going to stop by the table because it's SAS and I'm a computer information systems major, so it really was very fitting. But also just having the career closet and working to make sure that we have the events like Just for Success throughout the year, so that we know how to present ourselves when we do get to those interviews or when we do get into the corporate world, so that we're not, so that we can show up as our best selves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd echo what Noah said about the career fairs, because I think just last semester alone, we maybe had like 3 career fairs on campus. So there are multiple opportunities for students to get into contact with employers. For me as an international student, you know, the options are limited, but you know, for the rest of the student body, there's so many opportunities and you know, options for employers who came on campus regularly throughout the semester to provide information about not just internships, but jobs after graduation. So I think I'd echo the career fairs that we had.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, can you describe a moment during your internship that had a profound impact on your professional growth?
I think for me, just about every week at the Community Climate Change Internship Program, we had what we called, well, they were supposed to be PDFs, Professional Development Fridays, but they weren't always on a Friday. So we had professional development days. And on those days, we were given various talks, you know, just career advice, you know, how to deal with just being on the job, just it ranged from a wide range of topics. And then on one of the particular professional development days, I was asked to present all of the speakers. I'm like, I just came here to sit down and mind my own business. But, you know, just like that, just thrusted into an environment that, you know, I'm now going over their bios. And it just reminded me of how, you know, sometimes you go into an environment where your plan or your aim or your goal is to just go there and mind your own business. But, you know, you may be called to do more than that. So you always have to be ready for whatever opportunity may present itself to you.
Yeah. I think for me, there were about 2 moments. One was kind of like Kristoff. I joined one of the initiative groups that my company had. So they have a group called BIG, which is their Black Initiatives group. And every Friday or every other Friday, they would meet for lunch and we'd have time to just ask them questions and kind of debrief and see how everybody's week is going. But that was really beneficial because it allowed me to talk to somebody who looks like me and has been through some of the things that I've been through and could help me show up as my best self within that company and grow within that company. But also at the end, just meeting with one of my supervisors who helped me work on my project and the advice that he gave me to make sure that, you know, you take initiative and that you are your biggest advocate when you get into the corporate world, even if it's like trying to take on other projects or small or big. So, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm listening to you both. And clearly, I mean, you all are doing a whole lot more than just data entry and surfing the internet. I mean, you all have gotten some great experience at both of these internships, and it's great to see how active both of you were and how much they empowered you while you were there. So with that being said, how do you all feel that your experiences at St. Augustine's University has prepared you all for your internships and your future careers?
I mean, I'll go first because I'm also a part of the Increase program here, and it's created by Dr. Flowers and also Dr. Mokus, but they're really useful with helping you prepare you for your internships, prepare you for your interviews. Having something here to do that was like beyond useful. Of course, I had the soft skills. Like, I think I had the soft skills, but they also made sure that while we honed in on the soft skills, we honed in on the hard skills, making sure that our resumes were also up to date and looking good. How to do a CRV. I think that's CVV. Thank you. Thank you. The CVV. Just making sure that we had everything put together before we even started sending out those applications or before we even got in front of the interviewers. So that was definitely one of the ways that I felt prepared, but also just making sure that they put on events throughout the semester, throughout the year, at the beginning and all the way up until the end. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a little of the same as Noah. The resume writing workshops, the Dress for Success events that show us on campus how we should look in the front of an employer, things to say, things not to say. There was even one meeting with the Links organization that was organized with both Career Services and International Student Services, where the Links organizations, they were all women, very advanced in their careers, and they were telling us the sort of things that they did to help them advance, the sort of things that they did to get in the door in the first place. So I think those type of things, prepared me for my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like, it speaks to this hands-on learning community here at St. Augustine's, where you have your faculty that have taken you under their wing. You have members of the community. Shout out to the Triangle Park chapter of the Links.
Yes.
You have our deans.
Exactly.
And of course,
my advisor was super beneficial. Like, I had a research project with her where I helped to build a website for a company that she actually started up with a few other people. But yeah, like using programs like that to just excel and make sure that you have these skills before you get into the real world.
So with all that being said, we have some first year students here, contrary to popular belief. But we have some first year students here. We have some transfers, some other people that are new to St. Augustine's University. What would you tell them as prospective interns about the value of career services and just the overall supportive network here at St. Augustine's in preparation for their internships and career journeys?
As it relates to career services, what I would say is that Ms. Johnson in career services, she can be your biggest asset when you're trying to find internship job. She has the connections. If she doesn't have the connections, she will find someone who she thinks has the connections, and she will reach out to them and ask them or tell them to reach out to someone else to get back to her to be able to help her students. And you can go to her with anything. You can go to her for a question with anything, and she may tell you, well, I don't have the answer right now, but come back in the morning. I'll have an answer for you, and she will have an answer for you. There's also, just being proactive. Don't wait until your junior year, senior year, as you mentioned earlier. Internships are available for freshmen. Internships are available for students throughout the entire year. Just even if you don't go to Ms. Johnson, do what I did. Google. Just Google internships available in wherever you want to go or whatever field you want to do. Be proactive. So learn how to speak to Career Services, Ms. Johnson, who is there to help and always willing to help. And then take initiative for yourself and just look it up.
I agree with Kristoff. I agree with everything that you said. But also making sure that if you don't know quite what you want to do, just asking people, ask people what they do and how they got into their field, what made them like their field or make them want to continue in that, what made them switch paths if they ended up doing something else. There are also tests that you can take online to see, okay, is this the right thing for me? Is this really what I should be doing? And making sure that you start applying early, as in the fall. Don't wait until the springtime to be like, I want a summer internship or I want a summer job, because at that point the applications have been closed. So making sure that, like Kristoff said, be proactive, but be proactive like now. And if you feel like you don't have the skills, just think about the things that you do in school and on campus. Those are also valuable to bring up when you're in an interview for internships.
One more thing I'd add. Noah and I are both here, student leaders. If you're not comfortable going to your advisors, you could come to us.
We're always down to talk.
Right.
We're always here.
If you don't want to come to me and Noah as student leaders, find another senior. Because just because they're not in a position of leadership doesn't mean that they haven't had the experiences. I know of several students, like Talia Leary. She's had an internship every summer since she's been at St. Augustine's, and she's graduating senior now.
Wow.
So you have students who have the knowledge and the experience, who are willing to share the knowledge and that experience with them. So just ask fellow students on campus.
Join organizations like NABA.
And shout out to Miss Johnson, Miss Michelle Johnson in the Professional Development Career Services Center for doing the outstanding work with career services with students, as well as, like you said, your classmates, your fellow student leaders, those who are the heroes in this student body who are excelling every day. And while we're on that, we talk about networking. We also want to give a shout out to all of the St. Augustine's University alumni who are continuing to transform, excel, and lead in the community. We have senior level executives at Wake Med and several Fortune 500 companies, people that have worked several years in state and federal and local government offices. You continue to be our ambassadors and have built this culture and legacy of excellence that you are watching these students today continue on. And so as you are watching, we encourage you to please support the Falcon Pride Initiative. When you do so, you see the success of the students that St. Augustine's University continues to build and create. You also help us preserve our accreditation, stabilize our finances, and continue a legacy of excellence and leadership in the community and in the surrounding world. So, you talked a little bit about advisors and faculty. I want to talk a little bit more about that. So, could you just share a little bit more about what the role that your advisors and your faculty have played in guiding you through your internship processes?
I can speak for me personally. So, speaking with Dean Sapp was really beneficial because he knew me from when I was in the early college program and continued to make sure that I was, on top of things. He would be like, okay, I saw that your GPA was like this semester. Let's make sure that this next one's a great semester, So I even having that person in my corner to root for me made me make sure that I finished with a 4.0 semester last year, and also looked out for me. So he would talk about me when I wasn't in the room and make sure that I was able to have different experiences or even sign up for things like the internship that I signed up for. And then my other dean, who was actually over like the computer information systems, she was super beneficial because, of course, she gave me the project that I was able to work on, but she met with me almost every other week. And it wasn't just about, hey, Noah, how's the project going, but supporting my mental health as well. Like, how are you actually doing? Do you need anything? Things like that. That's been really useful, or they've been really influential in getting us this far, getting me this far.
I think it's the same for me with my dean, Dean Lyons. I can tell you, when Dean Lyons see me on campus, how those grades looking? And he knows who my lecturers are. Well, how's this class with that lecturer going? You're up to date, and he makes sure that the grades are looking good so that it's more attractive to the companies that are having the internships. He's very involved with my progress. Even I had a lecturer last semester who offered us, the students in the class, an opportunity to work with him on a research project.
Awesome.
So, you do well in class and you build up a rapport with your lecturers and with your deans, and they really do look out for you. And that's especially the case here at St. Augustine's, where it's such a tight-knit community that you can get that one-on-one approach and be able for your dean to be able to know you, your first name, your last name, all your classes,
Your GPAs.
your GPA for your whole time that you're being here. So I think they're really involved. They're really involved, and they're really keen on ensuring that you do well.
I agree.
So, again, going back to the experiences you all had this past summer, where you all really got a chance to get your hands dirty in both spaces that you were in, how do you feel that these internships will impact your future career paths?
Kristoff?
Boy, I did a lot of indoor work, and I did a good bit of field work as well, and even it was outdoors a lot, work, inspecting the vehicles that had to be sold and stuff, and working on them and towing them and peeling off decals to make sure they're able to be sold. And so I think I solidified that my future career would be indoors. Because working outside in the summer in the south, I was able to make the determination right there. Yeah, I need to be in AC, especially if I'm going to be in the south or back home in the Caribbean or something. I can't do. But on a serious level, I've always been interested in policy, advocacy, those sorts of things. So this really solidified my interest in those types of things, where I was able to work on the grant proposal for the government, able to look at different policies related to the electrification of the city of Raleigh, and that really solidified my desire to work at the policy level, especially as it relates to climate change, coming from a small island developing state where we deal with climate change at the extreme level with hurricanes so often, and we feel the effect so much, that I really was able to say that this is something that I want to do. When I knew that I wanted to do it, but I was able to say, yeah, I know for sure that I definitely want to be able to work in this field.
Okay. I also agree with the fact that it kind of solidified exactly what I want to do. I, of course, did the background and the coding aspect of it, but I learned that I really do enjoy working with people and helping people. That's more of the side that I want to be on. And it also helped me just get a feel of what it's like to be in the corporate world, because you don't know what it's like until you're in it. So that's definitely something that I also will be taking with me moving forward with my next internship or career that I have.
So we talk a lot about your experience as a student here at St. Augustine's. And so how has your perspective on St. Augustine's University changed since beginning your internships and seeing its impact on your careers?
I mean, I don't really think my perspective has changed. I feel like I've always known it to be a great institution for actually helping me achieve my goals, or knowing that it was going to be a place. I mean, I came here because it was small and because it was I knew that I'd be able to get that family vibe or that hands-on type learning. So it kind of just more so solidified my want to be here.
Okay.
I think it's more or less the same for me. It solidified how I already felt. I'm from the Bahamas. Historically, a lot of Bahamians over the decades have attended this institution. And, I look at the priests, the doctors, the lawyers in my country who are making waves, the politicians right now, the Governor General, which is the highest post that any person in politics can attain in most Caribbean countries. She is an alum of St. Augustine's.
Oh, awesome.
So I came here knowing that St. Augustine's produces great people. So, being able to go on my internship where they could say, wow, the comments are how efficient I am, how productive I am, how smart I am. It's like, just solidifies that, yes, all of this, I'm a St. Augustine student. So I don't think my perspective has changed. If anything, it just solidified what I already thought.
Yeah, and shout out to Cynthia Pratt, Mother Pratt.
Cynthia Mother Pratt.
Yeah, down in the 242 and the Bahamas alumni chapter down there as well. Shout out to all our Bahamian alums representing the 242. Now, you mentioned some of the feedback that you've gotten as an intern. Can both of you share any positive stories or feedback that you received from your internship employers about your performance?
I think for me, the biggest positive feedback was, always the appreciation from not just my immediate supervisor, George Aldegary, shout out George, but from others, Haidia, Jake, Daniel, everybody just appreciate my willingness to assist in any way that I could. If I felt as if I was idle for too long, I go and ask, hey, is there anything I could help with? Because one, I don't want you to say, oh, I just sitting here twiddling my fingers when I could be doing something. And two, I personally like to be engaged and challenged. So I think it was just the appreciation of me always wanting to do something and always wanting to assist with something, because I just always want to feel as if I'm, engaged.
My feedback was all mostly on my team aspect, so I'm very personable. So it was always, oh, I love having you on a team, or I like working with you on the team, and just not being, negative when I come in. That's pretty much been most of my feedback and throughout the internship.
Okay. So we've mentioned a lot about the culture and the experience here on campus for students, the hands-on learning environment, the faculty, the loving, caring atmosphere of our support staff and the like. As a result of that, what unique qualities do you think St. Augustine's University students possess that set them apart in the workforce?
Resilience. That's resilience, grit, drive. All of these things make up the St. Augustine student that pushes them to reach a goal or reach personal achievements despite what prevailing atmospheric conditions may be. That despite everything that is going on with St. Augustine students, both I can speak for Noah and myself, we still saw the need to better ourselves or put ourselves in a position that could possibly better ourselves in the future. Despite coming back and returning and knowing that we need to have that resilience, we still saw the need to have that grit and that determination and that drive to just want better for ourselves. And I think that is the prevailing notion or feeling amongst all St. Augustine students. They all want better for themselves. For some people, the road to better is a little, they face more obstacles, whether those obstacles are, self-imposed or otherwise. The reality is that every student that comes here wants better for themselves. And they work towards, achieving better for themselves. That looks different for everybody, but at the end of the day, just the determination and the drive is there.
I mean, I think that was very well said, so I'll echo all of that. But just to add on, flexibility and adaptability is something that we also possess, which is necessary in the workforce, because you never know when something's gonna go a little bit left and you're gonna have to pivot and keep moving. So I agree with everything that Kristoff said, and just add a little bit to it.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why they say a falcon is not an ordinary bird. Now, looking ahead, how do you all plan to continue leveraging your SAU education and experiences in your future endeavors?
As a graduating senior, St. Augustine's, I can honestly say, my time here has not been the full 4 years as a lot of the other students. But in just the year that I've been here so far, St. Augustine's has truly given me the opportunity to develop leadership skills, to develop personable skills, because I may not be as personable as Noah. St. Augustine's has given me the opportunity to be able to just determine who I am as a person. And I think that those are things that I could carry with me wherever I go. I appreciate the the hands-on experience that I've had from the lecturers, the faculty, administration, that I may not have gotten somewhere else. And that helped to, form who I will be in the future. So I think all of that, prepares me for what will happen beyond graduation day.
I think moving forward within my education or within my career, I'll just be bringing forward my connections that I made while I was here, bring them along with me on my journey, and kind of just making sure to keep in touch and not, just use them while they're here and be like, all right, bye guys, I'm going to go try and be successful now. But no, actually like keeping up with them, checking in on them, and figuring out how I can be an asset to them once I start to get into my career, or once I start to, really make a name for myself. And also just continuing with the research that I'm doing right now, like the Increase program, the research project that I'm doing. I'm not done. So continuing those as well, even past graduation.
Wow. Well, I want to first just thank you all again for taking the time to share your stories, to share with our viewers, the grit, the determination, the resilience, and all these qualities that you all described are reflective of all St. Augustine's University alums, even going back to the first students who built our chapel. St. Augustine's University students and alumni have always had the grit and the determination and the resilience to succeed beyond any of its circumstances, and you all have been no different. We are so proud of you for all of the work that you all are doing, the representation that you all are having of the university, and what you all will continue to do for the remaining of this school year and for the rest of your careers. With that being said, there is a litany of events going on from the Office of Professional Development and Career Services. You all received several. Understatement. You've received them. There will be a career fair that will be taking place next Thursday, the 19th, from 10 to 2 on the campus of Shaw University. This is the We Are Family Career Connections Expo. Now, with all these events that's going on, I'm going to give you all a chance to give your last words. What would you say to the students that are watching this to encourage them to take advantage of all the resources that Career Services and our faculty offer, given your experiences?
I mean, I would just tell them to look at us as an example, look at all the other students that have been able to get internships as an example, and follow in our footsteps, Make sure that you show up, make sure that you show out, and participate. There are benefits from it.
Yeah, the Latin phrase is seize the day. I would go beyond just saying seize the day, not just carpe the diem, but carpe the opportunities. Any opportunities that pop up, like the career fair that's happening next week, always be on the ball with seizing any opportunity that comes your way, because you never know how it can benefit you. You never know what can come from you being involved, with you just asking a question, you filling out a form. Any opportunity, just seize it. You never know what God has for you from that.
Well, amazing words of wisdom coming from our distinguished student leaders. Now, I do have to share with you on behalf of Ms. Johnson and the Office of Professional Development and Career Services, as well as the several other students that had internships this summer, including you all. We wanted to present to you both your Oscar for your internship, and congratulations to you both for the success that you all had this summer.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Thank you.
This is cute. And we also want to thank you, the viewers, those who watched the 11th episode of the Bird's Eye View. This concludes tonight's episode. We want to thank both Kristoff and Noah for joining us tonight. We want to thank Miss Michelle Johnson, Dr. Love, Miss Bannerman, for all they do in their respective places, as well as each of you, our alumni and our supporters who have now, after watching this show, are reminded of our why. If you want to know why to believe in SAU, that you see in the hashtag all the time, this is our why. This is why we believe in SAU, to continue the legacy of excellence, of transforming, excelling, and leading in our community. So before we end this show, we want to encourage you one more time to please support the Falcon Pride Initiative. By doing so, you're supporting all of the services that are happening on campus, our faculty, our staff, as well as the stabilization of our finances and the preservation of our accreditation. With that being said, I want to thank each of you for joining us tonight. I am Demarcus Williams, Associate Vice President of Global Marketing Communications at St. Augustine's University, and you are watching The Bird's Eye View on WAUG. God bless you. Good night.